And welcome, everyone. Welcome to Stockholm. Christmas has arrived. Look at that snow and the journey that our drivers have had here. It's been quite hairy for some of them through these really snowy conditions. We've even got carrot thrown, but welcome wherever you are in the world. This is the FEI Driving World Cup. We are at the halfway point in this 2023-24 series, and the drivers, as we can see there, are just walking through this winter wonderland, the first of these three pre-Christmas events that we are bringing to you. So we have had Lyon, we've had Maastricht, and we've had Stuttgart. The results would indicate that the series has been dominated by one man, of course, the reigning champion, Exell, representing Australia, although for the last few years he has been based in Valkenswaard in Holland. But look at that gorgeous course in the Friends Arena in Stockholm. Leg 4 of 8. This week Stockholm, next week Geneva, followed by London, then a short break for Christmas, and we will be back for Mechelen, then Leipzig before the final in Bordeaux. So that's the roll call of events. And to introduce the drivers competing, there we have the current standings after 3 legs. So Exell, of course, he's won 3 of them, but he's had 20 points out of that because he was a wild card in one of those winning events. In second place, the great Bram Chardon on 14 points. That's because of the 2 second rankings he's had with the 7 points. So going round, down through there with the rankings. Competing tonight in Stockholm, we have the home wildcard representing Sweden. It is Fredrik Persson. Then for Germany, Mareike Harm, the leading lady. There we are, the bridge close up there. Geerts for Belgium will be next. Bram Chardon for the Netherlands. Exell for Australia, and Michael Brauchle for Germany. So those are our drivers. That is the lineup. And then just coming into view on your picture, we have the course builder for the Netherlands. That's Johan Jacobs as well. So he's built a really interesting course here in Stockholm. That's the calm before all the action. As we get going on this competition one, we will have the actual placings. The rankings will be tomorrow, late afternoon, early evening, European time, wherever you are in the world. It could be early in the morning, it could be even later at night, but we are delighted that you are joining us and the team behind the scenes from FEI TV. So the bridge there is right in the centre of the arena. That is our course builder. This is the first of his courses here in Stockholm. We've had his fellow countryman, Jeroen Huteman, who has built the first 3 courses. And there really is quite a variation, not only the design of the courses, the layout. Obviously, we have central bridges. Here we've got a speed box, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. We've got, we had water at the last event in Stuttgart, and the bridge in the middle, that always is quite a feature. But coming through the start, they will be going round on the left rein, but there is that speed box in the corner. It measures 10 metres by 11, and it has 4 elements on the inside. It's quite precisely laid out. We'll have some close-ups of that. There are 2 oxers at number 7 and number 14. The 2 marathon-style obstacles, they are 5 and 10. There are a total of 15 separate challenges on this course. We have the pairs of cones at 1, 2, 3 is tucked next to the bridge, 4 right in next to 5, which is the obstacle. They'll go through that, then swing down to the right into the obstacle A to F. But for the drive off, which we will come to later on, the drive off, we will be dropping both the F gates from those obstacles. Then out of 5, and you're exiting pretty much at the opposite side from the bridge, so they'll be swinging round the short side over the bridge for number 6. Sticking on the left rein going through that first oxer of number 7. Remember, that is a complete, you can see it there on the top left of your screen, just under the horse's eye there. But the crowds, they're just spotting themselves. It's always such a wonderful family event, and the driving very popular. And a tremendous lineup. Boyd has dominated certainly the first positions over the first 3 legs, but as he said just before we got going with this series, the top 5, there's very, very little in it. Bram and his father IJsbrand, they bought a couple of new Lipizzanas from Belgium ahead of the season. Bram is here with the same team that he brought up when he was in that wild card position in Master. So there we have the running order. Fredrik Persson for Sweden, Mareike Harm for Germany, Glenn Geerts for Belgium, Bram Chardon, Netherlands, how much he would like to win another title. Boyd Exell, the reigning champion. He's had 6 wins in the last few years here in Stockholm. Will he make it 7? And Michael Brauchle. So that's where we stand in terms of the running order this evening. And the rankings you were showing there, they are taken throughout the year from the qualifying outdoor events. So great overview there, wonderful preparation, and there's the information about the course builder Johan Jacobs from the Netherlands, very experienced both indoors and outdoors. We've got 2 marathon obstacles, 1 bridge in the middle, and we're going to see some incredible lines in the sand as we get going. Lots of chatting. He's got a hotline to the president of the ground jury. That's the Belgian Bert Jambon. We've got a mixture of both Swedish, Dutch and Belgian officials here in Stockholm in this glorious Friends Arena. Driving and equestrianism, so important to Sweden. It was one of the very first nations when the FEI was founded in 1921, and it's played a really key role, not just in driving, with been some great names, some great results for many Swedish drivers over the years, but across the board, and just think about all the tremendous results they're having in currently in the World Cup, and with Patrick Kittel doing so well in the dressage and also with the jumping. But something we have that's really special with the Stockholm event is they have the displays of the Icelandic horses as well. So there's dressage, jumping and driving over this long weekend, and we've got the Icelandic horses as well. But it's all to play for, and look at that gorgeous scene in the background, that enormous screen which provides a backdrop to all the competitions and displays and entertainment. And here they come into the ring. We're welcoming in our drivers and representing the home crowd. This is our wild card, Fredrik Persson. Fredrik had a great outdoor season this year. He was well placed at 12th at the European Championships in Exell at the end of the summer. That was at the end of August in the Netherlands. And although he did not make the top 10, there you can see his FEI rank is currently 16. He's got Igor, Judson, Patton and Kermit, a mixture of Dutch and American horses, and we are getting going already. The music is pumping, and number 1, take a look at these routes and at the timings. He's a great trailblazer, and believe me, all those other drivers will be watching this, just seeing where the sticky points are on the course. Through to number 4. Well, he's got that. You can see quite decisively that's 4 penalties to add already, which will translate to 4 seconds. Dropping down into number 5 already. It comes on so quickly in this Driving World Cup. Fredrik Persson for Sweden. First in as the wild card here in the Friends Arena. These gorgeous black horses. A lot of the drivers do use the same horses indoor and out. They don't all have the luxury, like some of them that have separate teams, although there's quite a bit of cross-pollination. If you look at the biographies and where these horses have been used, quite often they are used indoor and out, even by Boyd and Bram and IJsbrand and Koos. probably have the biggest yards full of these horses, and he's out. That's 8 to add so far, but a bit of a marker out there, just under 70 seconds. So that's a good split time just to use for the drivers that are coming later through that Oxer. This arena here measures about 80 by 40, similar dimensions to the one we had in Maastricht. And that does have a bit of a bearing on the positions and the tight lines. And actually, Bram said earlier, from the viewpoint of the driver, the layout of that box in the corner, you can just see it up there, that's number 11, makes it quite tight, makes you drive a lot more technically. Those lines, not too much margin for error, that'll be another element on there. Just caught that with his wheel, it's so easily done. They're quite lightweight. Horse is in a good rhythm, very responsive here for Fredrik Persson. Just clocked up another 4 to add, so he's on 12. That's 12 penalties, which translates to 12 seconds. But the horse is in his hand, forward and flowing, which is just what you want. Again, look at that times he came out, about 140, and he's into the speed box now. Just look at the layout of this. You've got that slight V at the front with those mini Christmas trees in there. And there are 4 different elements, so you've got to get that absolutely right. Number 12, we're getting to know the course as we do on these early rounds for competition 1. You can just see the remains of number 4 there. You're going to get it good. And that second Oxer, so that's the square, is number 14. Oh, and he's just twiddling back through number 10. He's on 16 now. But he cut off a bit of time there to come through number 50. So just to confirm for Fredrik Persson, we will get the confirmed time up. But that was 16 to add to his time. But just those interesting split times, about 70 and 140 coming out. So, oh, penalties to add, that ended up being 20, 182.88. And that gives them a total of 202.88. So Fredrik Persson, the first of our drivers here in Stockholm. This 4th leg of FEI Driving World Cup, just so gently flipped over. Elegantly done. That was in number 10. And next in, following on, Germany's leading lady, Mareike Harm, back on the World Cup circuit. She was in Stuttgart a couple of weeks ago and gave a lovely interview to the media team, said that she is thrilled to be back with her horses and her 2 lady assistants. She does use the same horses indoor and out there. She says they're her big dressage horses. They're not necessarily the little pingy horses and the Lipizzanas that a lot of the other drivers are able to use, but she has such a tremendous bond with them. She's been driving them for many years, and she is such an elegant driver, and this is why she is always so hard to beat in the dressage. She was first in the dressage at those European Championships in Exell and uses the same horses. She's had to have a little bit of a swap around because one of the horses didn't arrive so well, so she put one of her wheelers into the lead. She popped it yesterday. Catch it before you start, that's right, although she's about to go through, and they really do cover the ground, these lovely big horses of Mareike Harm. She had her daughter last February and said actually one of the hardest parts of being back on the circuit, as any mum will tell you, any new parents, is leaving the baby at home. Very focused when she gets to these shows. So into number 5. Flowing, and this is what Mareike does so well. She won't always take the tightest of lines, although she is very competitive, and she sits there so quietly and yet so effectively, but will give these big rangy horses, who, if you see them in a dressage arena, really are like magic. Taking up her loops there, that's all part of the steering, the taking up of the loops, releasing them, opposing your wheelers. You've got these different points of articulation, and she's out, and she's up on time. That was out in 66, and nothing to add so far. So a very smooth drive from Mareike Harm. Through number 7, the first of the Oxers. And when she can open up these big courses, they really can eat up the ground. But she's keeping them in a steady rhythm. Well, it's not steady, it's very fast, really, truly. Into number 10, and it is a clear round so far for Mareike Harm. With her distinctive colours on this marathon carriage. They use the same harness and equipment as they would if they were on these outdoor marathons. Those vehicle wheels measure 125 centimetres. That's the width from the outside rim to the outside rim when it's on the floor. The gaps between the gates, as we call them in the marathon obstacles, they are 3.5 metres, and the pairs of cones 1.9 to 2 metres. So that just shows you there's only, particularly with the pairs of cones, not a lot between them. Straight out of F, that's 10F, and into that speed box with those 4 different elements over the bridge. And this is a lovely round from Mareike Harm. Very smoothly driven. Is she going to get a clear round? Are those balls going to stay on top? 14, only one more to go. It's looking very, very good. And she's also cut down through 15, and the clock stops 174.87, and we will get confirmation up on your screens any minute now, but that looked to be a super clear round from Mareike Harm and her German horses. She's going to smile in just a minute when it's confirmed. There we go. Yes, nothing to add. There she has it. A lovely Mareike Harm smile. She just didn't dare breathe until she had confirmation that yes, all the balls were on top, and she's made a great time. So 174.87, nothing else to add. Round number 1 of competition 1 here in Stockholm, 4th leg of the FEI Driving World Cup. Hard to believe we are at the halfway point already, and in comes for Belgium, 34-year-old Glenn Geerts, very successful driver both indoor and out. He has had podium finishes in World Cup finals. His last great individual finish was in Leipzig in 2022, that wonderful bumper World Cup that we had, where we had 4 World Cups where everything was just reconvening after all the disruption of the pandemic, and Glenn was in bronze position then. The Belgian team also won bronze in 2022 for Tony World Championship, and again the European Championship in Exell. Glenn, oh gosh, just missed that number 4 with just that outside leader's legs. They were so close, but this is a gentleman who is a big fan of the Dutch warm blood. He loves their athleticism, always credits his horses, and always turned out to perfection. If you get a chance to ever have a look at Glenn and the team lined up in the warm-up arenas, which you can get a really good close-up if you go to these shows, and these horses are always immaculate and harnesses clean and beautifully platted. Takes a great deal of pride in the turnout. And he's out, up on the clock. Up at Mareike, that was about 61 coming out, but at what price? There's 4 to add. So at the moment, on time, he might be a little bit up on Mareike, but he's got that 4 to add, so they're going to be roughly neck and neck. Shaving off a little bit of arena time there, cutting down through number 5. Interesting route from Glenn. You don't have a huge amount of time to walk these courses. They have to make a lot of decisions very, very quickly, although they are extremely experienced in reading the 2D route mats as they come out, the course plans. But we only have about 15 minutes or so to actually physically walk these courses and make all these decisions, like cutting back through number 5. So 4 to add so far. We've got Glenn Geerts with his Dutch warm bloods. Horses, oh, good turn. That was a great line from Glenn. And when he gets a chance to open out these long-legged horses, they will pick up. Oh, oh dear, what a shame it was going so well. Just missed that number 12. Yep, the horses just would not. Here we go, Glenn, now that's it, just bring them back, that's it. Probably a little bit too much momentum. We did throw 10 and 11 so beautifully, and the horses just missed that front entrance into number 12 of that bridge and just had to circle a couple of times to regroup. But the cone that he knocked to the side was number 3, so there was no need to ring any bells. It was just costly in time. And be interesting to see, you can 13 added to that. Going back through the rules, you can have instances of whether the judge deems them to be disobediences or not. So yeah, a bit disappointed for Glenn, because that really was an absolutely cracking round until that point. So we'll get confirmation in just a minute of 14 penalties. Yes, that's more like it. 13 isn't necessarily a penalty figure. Yeah, they just did not want to do that. So it looked like actually it wasn't number 3. They took out, yes, that cone number 12. So that will be, yeah, poor Glenn, just disappointing, because they really were doing so well. But in the meantime, we come back on to Bram Chardon. Bram, who has been a World Cup champion on 2 occasions, and he and Boyd Exell will freely admit it's absolutely nip and tuck between them both. He had 3 absolutely exquisite rounds in Maastricht. He came out and made it look so easy. These horses were in his hand, these beautiful grey Lipizzanas, just bobbing round beautifully, and it was only just an extra loop he ended up having to take just when he missed a gate. But the pressure was on from Mr. Exell. But these super horses absolutely built for this job, and Bram is very tall, so he has these long levers in his arms which really help on the turns and taking up these loops. He's able to have quite a lot of stability through his core, which really helps when you're driving. And each driver, these tacticians, will be playing to their strengths, whether they're better on the right turn or the left turn. And when you listen to Boyd and Bram analysing their own performances and each other's, they're just as well versed in the strengths and maybe not so strong points of each other's horses as the other. And yeah, that's cracking time out there. At the moment, it's very much about keeping it clean. We've got potentially, for people like Boyd and Bram, these horses will be doing 4 rounds. We certainly would expect these 2 to be in both the drive-offs. So for this first round, they're just feeling their way. Oh, the horses, that's it. They cut down through that obstacle, and I think they thought they were going to have another tight turn to come, because perhaps thought once they were in the obstacle they had more to do, and Bram was like, no, we're going to go down through that bottom set of cones and into number 10, the second of the marathon style obstacles. But they're always looking for the gaps, the leaders. They're dancing round, they're so keen, and this is fresh for them. They haven't seen this course before. By the time probably these horses get to the 4th round, which will be the final placings tomorrow, late afternoon, they'll be darting in and out of all the gaps thinking they know the routes, and that takes just as much driving as when they haven't seen it before. But so far, great driving from Bram and his horses. It's clean, nothing else to add. Yeah, and they got over the bridge really well then. That was fine. Very forward, which is the best feeling. You just have to steer and get it right. So that's 14 is the second oxer, the square, and he's another that's cut back down through number 10, and there we go. Nothing to add, super round from Bram in 161. So we'll just get confirmation up there for you. But doing what he does so well, smooth, accurate, a super rhythm. 161.48. So that puts Bram into the lead, as we would expect. Always has one of his sisters on the back. They are such an incredible family, the Chardons. They are born with such natural talent. And what about their incredible dad, Eisbrand? He really did whip up the crowd in Stuttgart. My goodness, he got that crowd going. But this weekend, it is the turn of his extremely talented son, Bram Chardon, who is the current European outdoor champion. But there is no resting on any laurels when you have this man coming after you. He is world number one, indoor and out. He has absolutely changed the face of four-in-hand driving. Boyd Exell, originally from Bega in New South Wales, but about 30 years ago decided that if he was going to do what he wanted to do and become a world champion, which he always knew he was capable of, he had such belief. He came to England, and still such an important part of his crew are those friends he made all those years ago, the family, the driving family that he built when he was away from home, and now still part of his team. Through number 4, Emma Olsen on the back there. So Emma, who is from Sweden, and in fact she was representing Sweden at the World Pairs Championship in Le Pin in Normandy in September, driving a couple of horses from Boyd's yard. Many horses came out of that yard for that particular event. Bundy. Talking to the leaders. Tight lines from Boyd. His season has not been without mistakes, but what he does is he puts so much pressure on the others because he has speed and, as he says, technical accuracy. So 55 out of number 5, so that's pretty much 5 seconds up on the others. But don't forget, this is his 4th World Cup. He's been swapping his horses around. He said before the season he was effectively going to run 2 teams. The team that he won last year, the World Championship with, which remained pretty much unchanged, and even Boyd Exell can have a slight sat-nav error. That doesn't happen very often, and that's a ball knocked off because of that. So you see that ball dropping off. The horse is just a little bit too sharp going through because they've been out several times, but this is competition 1. An awful lot will happen between now and those final placings on Saturday. And he's out. 129 was the split coming out of number 10. 4 to add so far. He will have lost a little bit of time, but one thing the likes of Boyd do so well is really recover. All these years of experience, all the wisdom, they recover very, very quickly if there's been a blip, because these horses really can run. And again, he's just shaved off a little bit of time coming inside 8. to add 162.91. 162.91 plus 8, so that pops him behind Bram. Yeah, into second place. So you can see the total there, 170.91. But he's come from second place already this series, and whether he's leading from the front or pushing from behind, he will still bring out his A game. He said in an interview actually after the last competition in Stuttgart that this is just a bit of a pathfinder, this first one. The horses have had a long journey, and they've all travelled quite a way to get up here to Stockholm. And those roads were quite snowy. I mean, beautiful winter wonderland stuff, but out they go. Luke and Emma on the back there. And now coming in, this is the last of our drivers for this first round. And this is Michael Brauchle. Now, on his mind will be a place in the drive-off. We've only got 3 coming forward tonight in the drive-off. The top 3 placed, you might remember back in Lyon, in that opening event, we had all the drivers come in, which was great, but it's very much down to timetabling of these shows. There's an awful lot to get through. So more often than not, it tends to be the top 3 that go through, and this man is very, very fast. And if those balls stay on top, his are the times that a lot of the other drivers do pay attention to. Michael Brauchle from Germany, very much a marathon specialist, and in recent years a mainstay of that very successful German team. A farrier by trade. And that's Baloo he's talking to, one of his brilliant leaders. Through D there, and just looping back round. You can see they're coming to the outside of that pair of cones. They mustn't knock them through E, and then back up through the middle. F is at the other end, and then pretty good on time. I mean, there or thereabouts, but nothing to add. And those are the gambles you take. Those are the judgments you make. Do you really, really push on the speed? And they're running well, these horses, for Michael Brauchle for Germany. Number 9. All on top so far. And into number 10. Through B. And now it's Joey speaking to. Depends whether they're going left or right as to which ones of the leaders they're having a chat to. And he's out. 1 ball to add, 4 on the clock. Number 11 is that speed box. So far that has proved to be pretty problem-free. 12 is the bridge. But what the speed box has done is it's taken out that corner, so it means that where you might have had a bit more of a swing round and relatively empty arena, it's blocked off that top corner, so they've had to be really accurate through 1 and 2 and then dropping down into 10. So let's see, with that total, just 4 to add for Michael Brauchle, and a good time. So we will have confirmation very soon of which 3 will be going forward, and he pops himself into second place. So that's 160.52, so into second. So top 3 will be Boyd, Bram, and Michael Brauchle, who's just been. So all 6 now have completed their first rounds, and just a little bit of arena maintenance. In the rules, they have to allow at least 5 minutes between those first drives and the drive-off, but it is quite a good opportunity just for a bit of arena maintenance. And you can see there on the ground, that's wildcard Fredrik Persson. He's being interviewed. So confirmation of those results after the first round, 161.48. That was the time for Bram Chardon. In second place, Michael Brauchle, Germany, 164.52. Boyd, Exell, 170.91. So those are the top three coming forward for the drive-off. And what will happen is, apart from getting some nice positions, is the final placings of this evening's event will govern the running order tomorrow afternoon, when those placings really do count in terms of the ranking points. That's really what everybody's after. Obviously a win and a placing is tremendous, and it makes certainly the long journey here to Stockholm very much worthwhile. Yeah, that was just unfortunate for Glenn. You see, that wasn't number 3 as I initially thought. It was number 12 that he took out, a couple of circles, and just frustrating. You lose your reins in your hands, got to regroup, which he did. But a very smooth round from Bram. Don't forget, this is only his second outing, same team that he had as a wild card in Maastricht, and he had those 3 beautiful rounds. So nearly was his event in terms of winning. Just had that extra leap in the marathon style obstacle, but Boyd, Exell, rare error from him, but he'll put that behind him. Michael Brauchle, who had a cracking final round, quite an advantageous position to be in, last to go. He will have had a chance to watch the others go and just see where the bogey points were, but actually all drove very well over the course. The speed box up in the corner there, that flowed well down over the bridge. Only Glenn was the one that had the trouble there, but a few balls rolling, asked all the right sort of questions at this level. So the times will be slightly different. They will obviously be driving a little bit faster. They've had a bit of familiarisation over the course, but the 2 F gates will be dropped, and as Bram said earlier, that will really change the shape and feel of number 5 in particular. It's interesting, it can be just a sort of technicality almost, leaving out one of the gates. Doesn't always have to be F, they can leave out any one of them. Rarely it's A, but as Bram said earlier, it's an interesting course for Johannes' first show. We've had Jeroen Houteman, his 3 courses so far. The speed box is an unusual position. It's something he did once before in Mechelen a few years ago. It uses up a big space, which makes that entrance to 10A a little bit more narrow, and you can't really blast through 1 and 2. You don't have quite the same scope. So this is really interesting to share this with you from one of our very, very top drivers. Lots of options to take the shortcuts through the obstacles, and we saw that. We've seen that from the drivers, just cutting, shaving down. They haven't gone right to the outside arena, just cuts off of just a few, tenths of a second. So they will have all done the course. They don't have a chance to walk it again, but they're just dropping out the F gates. And as Bram said, that will change obstacle 5 quite a lot. And another additional comment he made was actually on the way up from Holland, and they do live sort of at the opposite end of Holland, the Chardons, in terms of proximity to Sweden, and he'd stopped off for the night with Fredrik Persson, who is nearer Malmo, the big bridges. So Boyd Exell will come in first. He was 3rd place after the round 1, so he will come in first, followed by Michael Brauchle, then Bram Chardon. So these are for the first 3 placings of competition 1, and then we will determine the running order for tomorrow, when the placings count for the ranking points. It will be the top 6 place drivers out of the 10 qualified drivers that will go through to the final in Bordeaux, and then the events can invite, and it tends to be one of their own, they will invite a wild card. There is a place for 1 wild card also at the finals. You can have up to 3 wild cards, tend to be 1 or 2, and that just adds to the fun of it. Boyd and Bram have both been wild cards so far this year. Michael Brauchle was the wild card entry in Stuttgart, and what that means is you can be placed, you can even win a final, but you do not get the points. The ranking points will only come from where you are a nominated and qualified driver. In terms of which events they all go to, there's a lot of sort of bargaining and sorting that out beforehand. So the top ranked driver, so that will have been Boyd this year, he gets to choose which is his first leg. And then the second ranked driver, so it will have been, say, Bram Chardon and Koos, they will have nominated, going down the line, which events were their preferences. And we see in recent seasons now, we have father and son in Bram and IJsbrand going, well, not against each other, only hopefully when they get to the finals, but they were pretty much using some of the same horses last year. They've been off and they've bought another couple from a Belgian driver, which they hope has added some quality to their indoor teams, and they're real fans of the Lipizzanas for this particular format. They drive the big Dutch warm bloods for their outdoor competitions. Just occasionally you might see one of the indoor horses being used outdoors. I think Phantom IJsbrand was using Bavary Phantom indoors and out, but by and large the Chardons do tend to use slightly separate horses. And there is our course builder. And so first in for the drive off for this competition number 1, the opening competition for the FEI Driving World Cup in Stockholm. 4th leg of 8. Manjot, Maestosa Jupiter, Barney and Mad Max. So they are pretty much the mainstays there of Boyd's indoor team. Very experienced horses. He is the first to credit his incredible success to their brilliance. He says when you've got the best horses, the pressure is on you as the driver because you can't let them down. Luke and Emma on the back there. Emma, such an important part of the team. Navigating, keeping them right. And she operates just that turntable. It just tightens up the torque to stop on those straight stretches when you're going at speed that you don't want the back of the carriage to ricochet out. So that's part of it. Bundy. These horses all know their names. Into number 5. Remember, we are dropping the F gate, so just will shave a couple of seconds off the time because that's at the other end from E, so they can come straight out of E. And you'll notice if you get the overview, a different route. So that's much quicker already. I mean, look at that, 47. And that's because that F gate was dropped. So a slightly shorter route. But equally, they're well warmed up now, these horses. The adrenaline is pumping and they work so well as a team. Into number 10, again, the F gate drops from this, so that's into B. And much smoother this time from Boyd. Certainly would not make the same mistake twice. Flowing, very, very good. Whoops. Jeez. Oh, gosh. Came out with such momentum. Nearly took out that Oxer, but will have only added a second or two. Would have probably liked a slightly tighter line out of number 10. He's added a bit of a swirl onto his exit. But at the moment, those balls have stayed on top. That's through 14. He's cutting down on the inside. And through 15, quick look down. And 132.05. That was a very competitive drive from Boyd Exell. He just has this ability that when he asks for more, there is plenty there. Everybody's catching their breath after that round. Yeah, that was much more businesslike, much more the Boyd that we have become so used to winning, so accustomed to him being absolutely at the front of this four-in-hand indoor and outdoor competitions. And there we go, Emma on the back, keeping him right. Next in, he was second fastest with Sunny, Fabius Balou and Joey. Michael Brauchle from Germany, very fast, always competitive. Actually quite good buddies with Boyd when they're not competing against each other. Oh, number one's gone already. That's frustrating, because then you always feel like you're coming from behind on that one. But 4 to add so far, just swung round. But he's in the top 3, and that's a nice place to be. Oh. Don't get penalised if the letters drop. If the balls or the elements or the cones go, that's when you catch forward. But knocking a letter, oh, it's gone up to 24. We'll just get clarification of those points. Now, 20 tends to indicate an incorrect sequence, but we'll just get confirmation of that towards the end. Number 9 into 10. So the 4 was for that early ball. 20, you can get 20 added if the croon uses the reins or the carriage wheel breaks, and 20 is also if the athlete changes their width. But none of that happened. Wrong gate, sequence or direction. Pretty good against the clock. And he had a tighter line coming out of there. Number 11. This is driven very well this evening. 12 over that central bridge. So it doubles up as both 12 and 6. Just looping round for the second of the oxen, number 14. Oh, commitment and concentration there from Michael Brauchle. And out to number 15, his time, 1:55.91. But quite a few penalties to add. I'm sure that will be confirmed by the judges. 179.91. But he's still in the top 3. Let's see what Bram is going to do. So, yep, ping off that inside ball went, and yeah, so that letter flew off. It'll be interesting to see if it was perhaps a route error. But 20 got added pretty quickly to that. It all happened so quickly in a World Cup round. Everybody has to be very vigilant, and in come the greys of Bram Chardon. He was the World Cup champion in Leipzig in 2022. And the current European outdoor champion. The Dutch team usually consists of Bram, Rijsborn and Koos de Ronde, and they absolutely dominate the teams when it comes to the Nations Awards. But here it's every man or woman for themselves. Very much an individual competition, the World Cup. They have a great rhythm, this team. When Bram just finds his pace, they hold it very well. This is their second outing. Remember, Boyd's been out 4 times so far. Just get into a lovely business-like canter through 4, and they can take their very tight lines. Just looks like there's been a knock of a letter again there. Twisting around, playing to his strengths on those left turns, and that was quick out. Very clean so far from Bram Chardon and his lovely greys. Number 9 just flanking the bridge and dropping down into 10, but as he said earlier, you have to be pretty tight on that line into 10 because of the placing of the box in that top corner. Flowing well, flowing very well. Balls are staying on top. No F-gate, and he's out. So that's 10, the second of the marathon obstacles. That's done, balls on top. 12 is the bridge. Nearly there. Oh, cutting through. Did he mean to go up the middle? We'll never know. 14 Oxa. Only one more to go. 132.05 he's got to beat. It is going to be very, very close, and he's just done it. He has just done it. 131.45. Wow. That is a fantastic competition. Very, very, very close. These two absolute titans of this World Cup sport, and that's what it means. 131.45, confirmation there of Bram's brilliant time. Wow, less than a second between them. Less than a second, but he did it, and the smile, the cheers, ears forward from the horses. Copybook round. Letter just got pinged off there, but that doesn't cost anything. Balls, elements, cones do. Letters are okay. Into the mouth of number 11, that speed box. And great line. That was a super line. That's probably just what did it for Bram. Yeah. It always, always means so much. Doesn't matter how many times you do it, because there's an awful lot of work and many miles travelled to do this, and the months of training, all for a moment like this. Confirmation, Bram Chardon of the Netherlands, 131.45. Boyd Exell in second place, 132.05. That's how close it was. Michael Brauchle, the third of the drive-off drivers, 179.91. Then we have Mareike Harm from Germany as well, 174.87. Those remaining 3, those are the round 1 times. Glenn Geerts in 5th, 196, and Fredrik Persson in 6th place. So Mareike, Glenn and Fredrik, they are 4th, 5th and 6th, but those are the winning drivers. Bram Chardon, Boyd, Exell and Michael Brauchle. So great sport being brought to you, just confirmation of the standings, and all being well, Bram will actually enter this because he has only competed so far, but there we go, he's on 0 at the moment, but there will be some ranking points, one would assume, by the end of it all in Sweden. 6 wins here in Stockholm for the Australian, and actually the nation means a whole lot to him because it was in Gothenburg back in the day that he won his very first World Cup title, so that's just how much it means for Boyd and why he still keeps coming up to the events in Sweden. Michael Brauchle there just pulling up his horses, and our winner tonight, Bram Chardon from the Netherlands. A superbly judged final round. Whether he meant to cut off a little bit more in that obstacle 5 as he was swinging round, we don't know, we might hear afterwards, but he got a cracking line from 14 down through the inside of number 10, and less than a second between them. Great driving, great competition, and just as the arena is being cleared, there are 500 volunteers. That's actually a figure that is published out there. 500 or so volunteers help behind the scenes at these fantastic events, and they really are wonderful. If ever you get the chance to go to one of these big events, be it here in Stockholm, Geneva, London, Maastricht, Leipzig, wherever you may go, Lyon, Bordeaux, there's a whole lot more going on beyond these main arenas. They have the warm-up zones, which are really fascinating, and it's a great education just watching the drivers warm their horses up, and then how beautifully the horses stand, bearing in mind they come in here and we expect them to ping into action with the adrenaline flowing, but out there they stand, they're beautifully mannered, many years of training, big stabling areas, but there's all sorts of shops and activities and demonstrations and children's activities. They really are wonderful events. And having had our first block of 3 with our opener at the beginning of November, it seemed to go by very quickly after Lyon, then Maastricht in the Netherlands and Stuttgart. And then we had the week off, and now we have the next block of 3 with Stockholm, where we are this weekend. Next weekend we move to Geneva, and that is another wonderful Christmas show, very festive. And then at the Exell Centre, which is in London's Docklands, it's the 3rd year that the show's been there, moved from its iconic venue at Olympia in Kensington, and actually a venue where Boyd Exell did a lot of his early World Cup driving when he was based in the UK, but now he is in Valtenswaard. Just make life so much easier, certainly travelling to events like this when he was based in continental Europe. And it's amazing how quickly these arenas cleared. Beforehand, it was like a light show coming from above when they had all the positions of the various cones and elements, and it's all shone down onto the arena. It's been pre-programmed from Johann's course plan, so they're able to build the arenas very quickly and enable the drivers their 15 minutes or so of walking them. We'll have them back in for the prize giving very soon. Lovely big screen that forms one of the long sides of the Friends Arena. And it's a snowy picture showing there, and it's actually a snowy scene outside. The drivers reported that those of them that were coming up from through North Germany, they had snow pretty much all the way up. So whether all those people that love a white Christmas will get one, let's wait and see. But there is snow in Stockholm. So this is the final of this evening's entertainment. We will be back with you late afternoon tomorrow for competition 2, and again 3 of the drivers will be coming forward back to 0, so it will be all to play for in terms of getting those 3 positions, and then those all important ranking points for the Bordeaux final. That's where they want to be. 6 out of the 10 qualified drivers who are taking part in all various 8 legs. We are on number 4 already. How quickly the time passes. And don't ever take it for granted that Boyd Exell has not won tonight, because he has come from second place on 2 of the 3 occasions so far this series and gone on to win. And this is a very lucky event for him. This is one he's enjoyed a lot of success at. And in Gothenburg in 2009 was when he took his first World Cup title. He took it again in Gothenburg in 2017. That was the culmination of the 2016-17 series. And then Bram won his first World Cup championship in 2019. That was in Bordeaux. And apart from in 2022, when everything was reconvening after the pandemic, when we had those 4 wonderful World Cup finals in Leipzig, where we had the jumping, the dressage, the vaulting and the driving all together. It was an April event. And Bram took that one, just beating Boyd. So these 2 brilliant drivers, and they're very talented horses. Circles in the sand. Just smoothing everything out. The fours come back in again. Bram Chardon was last World Cup champion in 2016. Title he first won in 2005 when he actually shared it in Gothenburg again. We come back to Sweden with the great Michael Freund. They were neck and neck. Bram won it again the following year, 2006. Christoph Salmon snuck in there in 2008, and then really it became the age of dominance from Boyd. Cousteron and Bram have upset the pattern once or twice over the years, but Boyd Exell remains the one to beat in terms of titles. But tonight, Bram and his grey horses did everything right. They were smooth, they were businesslike, and in the end they judged it perfectly. 131.45 to 132.05. That's how close it was. And as the music ramps up, we welcome back in these gorgeous horses. Got some sponsors and dignitaries on the back there as well. Only moments ago, running around the arena. Now look how relaxed they are. Bram thrilled with his win. There's Boyd, second tonight, and Michael Brauchle for Germany. So we've got Holland, Australia and Germany lining up. The crowd are such an important part of the Driving World Cup. They lift the horses, they create the excitement, and they get behind this tremendous sport.
Det är prisutdelning här i FEI World Cup Driving Warm-Up som har presenterats av Creative Technology. Och här för att dela ut priset har vi Ola Bigelius som är Senior Project Manager på Creative Technology tillsammans med sin dotter Ebba Bigelius. Vi ger dem en välkomstapplåd. Segraren i den här warm-up-körningen, the winner for the Netherlands, Bram Chardon. Fanfare. Och då ber jag er alla, om ni har möjlighet, att resa er upp. If you're able to, please rise for the national anthem. The winner, Bram Chardon. Som med minsta möjliga marginal den här kvällen tar hem segern i warm-up-klassen utav FEI World Cup Driving. På en andra plats har vi Exell. Och på tredje platsen, Brauchle. Topp 3 här i warm-up-klassen i FEI World Cup Driving som har presenterats av Creative Technology. Och nu är vi ju alla här inne väldigt nyfikna på att få höra vad segraren Bram Chardon har att säga. Över till dig, Mattias.
Big congratulations coming here to Stockholm. Have you been here before? Your first time? And you came here for one thing, to win the first competition.
Yeah, definitely. I heard so many good stories from my father from Stockholm. So I said this year we're going to change. I have to go there once and witness it myself. I was happy with my team after Maastricht. And they gave a very good performance today. I could stay in control in the first round. And then Boyd pushed me to the limits. And my horses helped. And I think today the three of us showed very good sport. And thanks a lot for all the public for being so enthusiastic.
But we all know what happens with Boyd when he's losing. He's getting angry and he's riding even faster tomorrow. How will you handle that?
I know. Yeah, I've had this with him for a couple of years now. But that's what we want. Yeah, we want to push each other. We want to move our boundaries. And I made him a little angry in Maastricht, and then he beat me the second day. So I hope this one will be for me.
But your horses are going quite slow. It doesn't look very quick, but they are so smooth. They are doing it so easily. Can you put one gear more? Can you go a bit quicker tomorrow if you need?
Yeah, I always intend to start a little bit slower than the others. I also know on my split times I was behind Boyd halfway, but I knew he went a slightly bigger loop out of the second obstacle, so I know there was some to win for me. To go faster, yeah, possible, but then there's also a chance that I lose control. They are very smooth now, but that's also because I start a little bit more control. So I have to analyze all the videos and see what the differences are between me and Boyd, where I lose and where I win, and with the other drivers, and then we make a plan for tomorrow.
Segraren Bram Chardon.
interesting to hear the trade secrets of what really goes on, because they do spend all
Och
the
då ska vi
time
också be alla som
analysing,
står där nere att smita ut
working out
här,
where they
våra
can gain, and
prisutdelare
they will
ifrån
be
Creative Technology
watching each other's
tillsammans
rounds.
med övriga. Och
Really,
två stycken,
really
det är de
revealing
som
to
ska
hear
få
Bram
åka med.
talking
Ola
there.
Delius tillsammans med sin dotter
And he's a
Ebba
very
ifrån
open
Creative
athlete,
Technology.
always
Är ni
happy
redo publiken?
to
Det är
debunk any
Lap of
myths or
Honor!
make this more accessible. Very much a next generation icon in the sport of driving, not just with four in hands, but absolutely brilliant example of a great sportsman, but hard-working. Both he and Boyd travel all over the world training other people as well, and I know that there will be many of both Boyd and Bram's pupils and fans tuning in from all over the world, and I'm sure there's a really good division between those that are delighted to see this man win and just as many who want the other one too. But they really have pushed this sport into the next sphere with their brilliance, their attention to detail and their tremendous horsemanship. Boyd is always dangerous when he's coming from behind, but Bram knows what it takes to win and to keep his cool. And it wasn't so slow today. They just get into a great rhythm, these greys of his. And if we can keep them going at that pace, keep the lines tight. They're very compact, they have a lot of energy, they've got a lot of spring, they've got plenty of impulsion. And it's not just about ground coverage, it's about their power. How we can bring driving. It's the friendly sport, it's the social sport, and the horsemanship, controlling these beautiful animals just through the reins and voice, working with them. It's a privilege. This is simply a joy to watch. Exactly what it is. It takes a lot of passion to do this, but congratulations. The night belongs to the great Bram Chardon and his wonderful team of Lipizzanas. His first time, as he said, in Stockholm. He wasn't going to let his dad come this time. He wanted to take the trip up across Northern Europe, up through the snowy roads into Sweden, and work every mile, every kilometre. It's been a great evening of sport. Thank you so much for joining us. And don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow, late afternoon, local time. And that's when we will be awarding the places. But take care wherever you are. From the team at FEI TV, I'm Sarah Dance. It's been an honour to bring you the coverage tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.
han har en sällsam makt. Och när du din önskan satt, från en silverstråle klar du får